the topic for this session is glossary of terms for merchandising. There are terms which are frequently used in the merchandising function, and these terms are very important. So, for any person who wants to be a merchandiser or a buyer, or who wants to work in merchandising area, so it is necessary that they are familiar with these terms and they accustomed with these terms. So, it makes it pertinent that we get familiar and we understand the significance of these terms as we study apparel merchandising. So, let us go through the terms and try to understand the meaning of each term. So, let us start with the first term that is frequently used is accessories. Accessories in fashion apparel or particularly the fashion apparel, the accessories are the things that go with or coordinated with dresses, coats, suits, etc. It includes fine and costume jewelry, neckwear, scarves, handbags, small leather goods, millinery, gloves and hosiery, shoes, handkerchiefs, watches, artificial flowers and ribbons, so on and so forth. So, all these things that go with fashion apparel, they are called accessories. So, the accessories include the jewelry or anything that goes with apparel. It can be ties, neckties, it can be belts, okay, it can be the footwear, it can be the accessory that go with the hair and other thing. So, anything that is going with the fashion apparel and making a complete, and they help in making a complete fashion statement. So, that is why it is very important to understand the role of accessories in making a total fashion statement. So, understanding the impact of fashions on accessories also. So, the next thing that we can look at is advertising budget. So, advertising budget is a plan of advertising expenditures for a specified period. It can be for weekly or monthly or seasonally or annually. So, when you say seasonal, it is a seasonal advertising budget. When you say it is a weekly budget, it is weekly advertising budget, and then we can also have annual advertising budget. So, generally details by media and by departments and divisions. So, the advertising budget can be divided, can be detailed media wise. Media wise in the sense that print media, how much you want to spend, electronic media, how much you want to spend, internet, how much you want to spend. So, it can be divided like that, and for a store, the advertising budget can be allocated to different departments, different divisions. Menswear, how much is the budget allocated for advertising, and similarly kidswear, how much is the budget allocated for advertising. Similarly, other departments like footwear, etc. So, that is how the advertising budget is. Again, it is the amount of money that is allocated for advertising activity. It can be divided into department wise or division wise, and it can also be divided media wise. And now, the next term is anticipation. So, what is anticipation? So, anticipation is nothing but paying a bill before it is due with the benefit of extra discount. That means, anticipation is an effort to get extra benefit, extra discount by paying in advance of the deadline. So, that is anticipation. So, there you are anticipating discount and incentive for paying, making the payment in advance. So, that is the importance of anticipation. So, anticipation basically improves your gross margin because it gives some discount, and you get when you get discount, the cost price would reduce and your gross margin would increase. Similarly, the next term is in the merchandising that is also regularly used in the industry is appeal. What is appeal? Appeal is motive to which advertising is directed, designed to stimulate action by the audience. Points made in copy to meet customers' needs and objectives and provide reasons to buy. So, motive is what is that the advertising is talking about. What is the content? It is the content in the advertisement which motivates the customer to buy. So, that is what is the importance of that. Then coming, the next term is association of buying offices. Association of buying offices. So, association of buying offices means it is the organization of New York buying office executives to standardize and unify services available to stores. That means in US they have an association of buying offices, and there they were try to standardize and create uniformity of services available to the stores. Traditionally, the manager of NRMA merchandise division is ABO's secretary. So, the manager of NRMA is ABO, that is Association of Buying Offices secretary. And next most important thing is assortment plan. So, as we have discussed sometime in our earlier units also, assortment plan is complete range of merchandise in a category planned to various depth of inventory to meet customer demand. So, it is the total assortment, total variety and depth of the product line that is planned to offer for sale, that is the assortment planning. So, it is again a very important term that we should get hang of it, and we should understand it, the assortment planning in its entirety. And then the next term that is used is authorizing. So, authorizing is approval of a charge transaction by credit personnel when the amount of sales exceeds the floor limits or when identification of the customer account is required. So, it is basically authorizing the sales. So, another term which is also important and which is regularly used is automatic reorder. Reordering staple merchandise on the basis of predetermined minimum quantity. When this minimum quantity is reached, the quantity of initial order is again purchased. That means this is possible particularly when you have electronic data interchange. When the buyer and seller systems are synchronized through electronic data interchange. So, the moment the inventory level of a particular item goes below the minimum level, certain level, then an automatic reorder is generated in the system. An automatic reorder is generated in the system, and that the order will be as per the minimum order quantity requirements of the vendor. Minimum order quantity requirement of the vendor, the order is generated and sent to the vendor's system, and vendor would start working on the order and dispatching the same to the buyer. So, that is automatic reorder. Another important term is average gross sale. Average gross sale. So, what is average gross sale? Average gross sale is the amount of gross sale in rupees. The amount of gross sales in rupees divided by number of sale transactions or sales checks which produce the gross sales. So, average gross sale is nothing but the total sales divided by the number of transactions. So, that is the average sale. The next term is backup stock. Additional merchandise available in warehouse or in forward, in store, in stock room, particularly important for runners or the best selling staples. When the best selling staples which are selling very fast, so we need to have some backup stock. The additional merchandise what is available in the stock, whether it is in the warehouse or in the stock room of the store, so that is called backup stock. And backup stock is very important for the best selling staples. Then comes the balanced stock. Balanced stock and or assortment makes available what the customer want throughout all price zones or price ranges in proportion to that demand. That means balanced stock is available in all price zones and in all full assortment, in all sizes, in all colors, in all fabric designs. It is available in proportion to the demand from the customers. So that means it is a balanced stock. And coming to the next term that is also frequently used is basic stocks. Basic stocks. So what is basic stock? Items, numbers or models that must be included in a line of classifications. Basic stock is usually staples, but non-staple items become basic when for fashion or fad reasons they enjoy temporarily increased customer demand. The best rule for basic stock is having what customers want when they want it. So you should have basic stock available when the customers want it, and it will sell well in that time. So sometimes a fashion goods also can become basic stocks when there is a increased demand. The next term is beat last year's figures. Beat last year's figures. So what is the understanding? What is the meaning of beat last year's figures? The unending battle to sell more every day than was sold on the same day a year ago, or at least to meet last year figures and not to fall behind. That means beat last year figures means you are always striving to sell better than what you sold last year. So this can extend to a monthly and even a day-to-day struggle. That means you try to sell today more than what you have sold the same day last year. You try to sell more this month more than what you have sold last month. You try to sell much more than what you have sold last season. So you try to sell more this season compared to same season last year. So like that you can also extend to year on year. You want to increase the sales. So that is what it means. And the another term that is also important is bestseller or even called best runner. What is a bestseller? Seasonal or year round or number in a line that sells fast throughout the season or year at full mark on that merits continuous promotion in displays, advertising and suggestive selling. That means bestseller is a line that sells fast throughout the season, or it can be even year. So since it is selling well, it is selling fast, so it merits continuous promotion. So it can be promoted continuously in the advertising, in the suggestive selling, etc. So that means, so by giving proper promotion to the bestseller, you can even increase the sales. So that is the importance of identifying and pampering the bestsellers. The next term that we can discuss is blanket order. Blanket order. So what is a blanket order? So a pre-season order to meet anticipated needs, placed before production has started. Pre-season order to meet anticipated needs, placed before production has started. Buyer orders against blanket order to meet needs as the season arrives and progresses. So, blanket order is basically a pre-season order based on the anticipated demand. So, it is placed much before the production is started, and buyer orders against the blanket order. So, against blanket order, buyer will give another exact order based on as the season arrives and progresses. He will know what is the actual demand of the customer for that product. So, against blank order, he will give a correct order or perfect order against the based on the expected, based on the actual demand that is there at the beginning of the season. So, another important term is bonus. So, bonus, what is bonus? In merchandising process, in a merchandising context. So, what is bonus? Bonus is paid to sales people for selling slow moving pre-season or high priced merchandise, or for a special promotion, sometimes paid by vendor upon arrival by store. So, also it can be referred as a PM or premium money. So, bonus is basically it is paid to the sales people. It can be bonus, it can be additional bonus paid to the sales people for selling items such as slow selling and slow moving items, pre-season items, and higher priced merchandise. So, because they bring in good amount of revenue for the store, and so the sales people are eligible, they are rather they deserve certain incentive. So, they are paid bonus or additional bonus for this special. And now, another most important term in merchandising is book inventory. Book inventory. So, what is book inventory? Book inventory is amount of retail stock. Book inventory is amount of retail stock shown to be on hand by a perpetual inventory system, wherein sales, markdowns and discounts are statistically deducted from the total purchases to date. So, basically book inventory is basically it is a how much is in stock, each item, each SKU, how much is in stock as per the books available, as per the inventory books available. So, it can be a physical book, it can be a computer book, a computer record keeping. So, as per records, what is the stock available in the inventory, that is called book inventory. The next important term is boutique. So, we are listening to or hearing this word very often. So, what is a boutique? So, what is a boutique? Boutique is an area within a store, or it can also be an individual store selling unique merchandise in a unique setting. So, generally boutique sells unique merchandise, maybe designer wear in a unique setting. So, the boutique store design and store layout is very unique. Their customers are very niche. So, the product they sell is mostly designer wear. So, that is what is a boutique. The next term is branch store. Branch stores. So, branch stores are owned and operated by the parent or flagship stores, generally located in a suburban area under the name of flagship store. So, generally they can be generally located in the suburban area in a US context. It can be very well within the city in the Indian context, but they are owned and operated by a same management. Same management is owning and operating the stores. So, that is the branch stores. Then comes the brand. So, we know we regularly use the term brand in retailing, in merchandising and everywhere. So, what is a brand and what does brand signify? So, a brand is a name. It can be a name, it can be a term, it can be a symbol, or it can be just a design, or it can be a combination of any of these, which intended to identify the goods and services of the seller. So basically brand gives identity to the product or the service, and it also differentiates them from those of the competitor or competition. So brand is basically serves to identify the seller or manufacturer or the distributor, and brand also is a brand is for recognition, brand is also for differentiation from a similar product from the competitors. So that is what the significance of brand. The next important term, particularly in buying context, is buying specifications. Buying specifications, where store submits definite specifications to manufacturer. So specifications are submitted to the manufacturer rather than selecting from the goods already in the market. That means here the buying is done by giving specification to the manufacturer and to get the products manufactured as per the specifications. The buyer is not buying goods which are already made by the manufacturer or by the vendor or the wholesaler. So he is rather giving specifications to manufacture the goods. So generally private labels, store brands, controlled brands are normally purchased by an individual store through resident buying office on the specifications. So when sourcing for the store brands or private labels, so the buyer necessarily gives the buying specifications and gets the merchandise manufactured as per the specifications. So that is the importance of this term. Coming to the next term that is also used frequently, buying group or buying office or resident buying office, or it can also be a buying agency. So what is this buying office or buying agency? Buying office is nothing but organization representing group of non-competing stores formed primarily for servicing stores, may be independent, may be store owned or own the stores. That means it is basically to take care of the sourcing operations of the retailers. So these these buying offices can be owned by a store, like we have a Gap buying office in Delhi taking care of the Gap's sourcing needs in South Asia like India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, etc. And we can also have the buying agents, which is a buying agency which is a third party like Triberg, etc. They work for a commission, they take care of the sourcing needs of specific stores by working for a commission. So that means they can be independently owned by the stores or they can be agencies also, but they play a crucial role in the sourcing the merchandise for the stores. Another important term which is regularly used in buying and merchandising is the cash discount. Cash discount. So what is cash discount? How do we explain the term cash discount? Cash discount is nothing but percentage off on the billed price, concession for paying bills within time period indicated on the invoice. For example, 2/10 means 20% deductible on the bill if paid within 10 days of the invoice. So that means if the payment is made within 10 days of the invoice, the buyer will get 2% discount on the invoice value. Cash discounts include anticipation, what we have discussed earlier, anticipation, and it also includes cash discounts are merchandising gains included in computing the gross margin. Cash discounts are very important, and the buyer should always try to make use of the cash discounts by making payment on or before the deadline for getting the same. So cash discounts are an important source of improving the gross margin. So the cash discounts, you get straight away reduction in the invoice value, thereby the cost price of the goods purchased will be reduced. So when the cost price of the goods purchased is reduced, the gross margin would improve, and so would be the net profit. So cash discounts are a very important source of improving revenue for the stores, and the buyer should always try to make use of the cash discounts. Another important term is cash receipts report. Cash receipts report. So what is cash receipts report? Cash receipts report is the form used by salesperson or salespeople to list cash received from the sales of merchandise at the end of each day's business. The change fund is first deducted and placed in change fund bag. Balance of cash is counted and listed and placed in receipts bag together with the report. So basically, cash receipts report indicates it is the amount of sales of merchandise at the end of each day's business. So that is what is important. So it indicates the revenue from the sales in a day. So that is the importance of cash receipts report. Then we have another term which is called cashier method. So cashier method is nothing but where customer makes own selection, then takes purchase to cashier for payment and wrapping. So cashier. So here the customer makes the decision of selection and purchase, and then goes to the cashier for payment and wrapping, rather than a salesperson pursuing the customer to make the sale deed. Then another important term, especially for merchandising and buying, is central buying. So what is central buying? Central buying is buying activity of a group of centrally controlled or associated stores, generally for merchandise uniformly carried, where bulk purchase can influence purchase price. So central buying is particularly crucial in cases of chain stores. So the chain stores with common management and ownership, they sell similar merchandise uniformly across all stores. So if the merchandise is purchased centrally from the corporate office, then there is all possibility that they can make a bulk purchase and they can bargain better for the purchase. They can get a better price from the vendors and the wholesalers or the manufacturers. So it can also be possible when there are associated stores. That means independent retail stores have formed an association for the purpose of sourcing, and they consolidate the order from individual stores and make one central bulk order, so that they can also negotiate a better price from the suppliers and the vendors. So this kind of ordering, consolidated ordering for all the stores of a chain store or a associated stores, is called central buying. So the advantage of central buying would be economies of scale and the advantage of volume of buying merchandise. So they can get better price from the suppliers. The next term is central control office. Central control office. So what is a central control office? Central control office, it is charged with responsibility for merchandise control system and accurate accumulation of pertinent statistics. So that means centrally, particularly in case of chain stores, there is a central control office which would have a control over the merchandise, and they have all the statistics of what are the purchases made, how much is selling, how much is already sold, how much is some returns from the customers. So they have a complete control over the merchandise and merchandise control system, and they have a accurate accumulation of the pertinent statistics. So they have complete statistics related to the movement of merchandise. So another important term is central information file. So central information file is nothing but main data storage memory in a computer system. So all the data pertaining to the store, whether it is sales, purchases, returns, everything is stored. There is a in the main data memory, and that is called central information file. So the central information file we have the master data of the store. So next important term is centralized buying. Centralized buying. So all buying done by merchandising staff located in a flagship store or buying center, perhaps located in corporate headquarters, warehouse. Central buying increases influenced by requests, suggestions, opinions of branch store managers and their merchandise staff. So central buying, again, as we discussed earlier, it will have the advantage of bulk buying, bulk purchases, and it will be central buying will also be influenced by the requests and suggestions and opinions received from the individual branch stores and the store managers across the their geographical spread. C&F, which C&F means cost and freight. So it is a Incoterm, international commercial term, and related to exports. It is a shipping term indicating that seller will have to pay for freight charges, only for the freight charges to the destination, and he need not pay the insurance. So that is what is C&F. Chain stores. Chain stores, two or more stores stocking identical merchandise owned and merchandised by one individual or company. That means basically chain stores sell same uniform merchandise across all its stores, and they have common management and common proprietorship and common management, and they are all managed by one corporate office. So that is the importance of chain stores. Checkouts. Checkouts are stations where customers carry self-selected merchandise and pay cashier and have merchandise wrapped. So all the most of the organized retail outlets nowadays, they have checkout counters where the customers would go with the selected merchandise, and they pay to the cashier the whatever is the billed amount, and then get the merchandise wrapped or placed in a carry bag and or some basket, and then they check out of the store. So that is called checkout stores. The next important term is chopped ticket. What is a chopped ticket? Chopped ticket is part of ticket removed from sold merchandise. Removed from sold merchandise. So and forwarded to vendor nightly as a step in vendor's computerized stock control for reorders. So chopped ticket is it is basically part of the ticket removed from the sold merchandise. So the same is forwarded to vendor as a step to the through computerized stock control for reorder. So that means, so the vendor will also know how much is getting sold, and he knows at what time he has to send the reorder to the store. So that is the chopped ticket would help in the computerization and electronic data interchange, and vendor would know what is the status of the stock which is purchased by the buyer, and at what point of time he need to send a reorder. The next important term in merchandising is the classic. So, what is a classic? Classic is any style that remains in fashion for a considerable length of time. So, that means classic is a style, is any form or style or silhouette that remains in fashion for a considerably long time. So, it is considered as a classic. A classic will be in vogue. A classic will be in vogue for a long time to come. Expected to be in vogue, it is already in vogue for a long time and expected to be in vogue for a considerable length of time. So, that is what is called classic. Another term is classification. Classification. All merchandise of a given type or use, regardless of style, size, color, model or price, is classified, and that is called classification. So, it is a division of all the merchandise, and so that is called, that is classified or divided into based on various factors like size, color, etc. So, that is called classification. Cluster of stores, the term cluster of stores. So, what do we understand by the term cluster of stores? Stores that will produce enough sales volume in a geographical area to bear cost of advertising, central warehousing and distribution and provide a profitable operation. That means the cluster of stores is a cluster of, it is a group of stores in a geographical area. So, they will be, the sales volume from all these stores would be sufficient to bear the expenses of advertising, central warehousing and distribution to provide a profitable operation. So, that is called cluster of stores. The next term is COD. COD means cash on delivery. So, what is cash on delivery? Transaction whereby customer agrees to pay when goods are delivered. So, it is a transaction where customers agree to pay when goods are delivered to them. Courtesy e-commerce and online, COD is now a very popular term. The another term in this context could be collection, particularly in merchandising context, collection. What do we understand by the term collection in the fashion merchandising context? So, a collection is a designer or manufacturer's group of fashions for a specific season. Collections are nothing but it can be a designer's or a manufacturer's group of fashions for a specific season. So, that group of fashions is called as collections. The next term is commission. Commission is percentage of sales paid to the salespeople as all or part of their remuneration. So, commission is basically an incentive given to the salespeople. So, to encourage them to make sales, to improve the sales of the store. So, it can be part of their remuneration, it can be a variable part of their remuneration also. Consignee, the another next term that is commonly used in the industry is consignee. So, what is consignee? Shipping term, consignee is again a shipping term applied to the ultimate receiver of the goods. That means to whom the goods are being sent, the ultimate receiver of the goods is known as a consignee. So, the consignee or his agent is expected to receive the goods at destination point. Similarly, the next term is consignor. So, what do you understand by the term consignor? Consignor is again a shipping term applied to the originator of the shipment. That means it is the person or the organization which is sending the shipment. So, they are the originator of the shipment. The shipment is being sent by the consignor. Consignor is sending the shipment to consignee. So, that is what the significance of the term consignor. Another term regularly used in the industry is the costume jewelry. Costume jewelry. So, what is costume jewelry? Relatively inexpensive jewelry, as opposed to the jewelry of gold, silver and platinum, and generally set with the precious stones. So, basically we have two types of jewelry: precious jewelry. Precious jewelry is made of precious metals like gold, silver, platinum, and maybe it is studded with expensive stones like diamonds, etc. But there are also jewelry which is relatively inexpensive. It is made with materials inexpensive, but very have good decorative value and good appeal. So, that is the relatively inexpensive jewelry is called costume jewelry. It is called costume jewelry. Another important term with respect to the merchandising process, especially in the sourcing aspect, is croquis. Croquis is small rough sketch from which an illustrative idea for ready to wear or home furnishing number is designed and model developed. Croquis is a rough sketch. So, from that a design is developed. It can be for a ready to wear or it can be for a furnishing product. Cross selling. The next term is cross selling. So, what is cross selling? Cross selling is again a very important term in retail business. It is applied to salesperson selling in more than one department. So, it is basically what is happening in the cross selling is, so if somebody is buying a product, so there is another product which may go along with that. So, that product is also encouraged. If somebody is buying a men's shirt, he may be encouraged to buy a suitable necktie for that. So, that means it is a cross selling of the products. Then comes a very important term, that is cumulative markdown. Cumulative markdown. So, what is a cumulative markdown? How do we understand cumulative markdown? So, cumulative markdown is percentage in rupees or dollars. It is the percentage in rupees or in dollars. The difference between the delivered cost of the merchandise, including the transportation costs, and the cumulative selling price originally set. Cumulative selling price originally set. So, it is basically the cost price. So, when the cost price is deducted from the cumulative selling prices. So, first there can be a original selling price, then there is a reduced selling price, and there is a further reduction in the price again second time. So, what is the cumulative markdown? So, that is what is the cumulative selling price and minus the cost price would give you cumulative markdown. Cumulative markdown. Another important term is customer demand. Customer demand. How much merchandise, how many items, how much in dollars terms or in rupees terms at cost, or it can be at retail price, customers buy in a stated period of time. So, in a given period of time, so how much the customer is buying, of any item. So, in terms of the currency amount, that is rupees, and this can be at cost price, or you can calculate, or you can also calculate at a retail price. So, this is what is customer demand. How much merchandise the customers are buying in a stated period. The next term is deep stocks of key items. Deep stocks of key items. Popular merchandise carried in large quantities in many sizes and colors, but variety of styles, patterns, types carried strictly limited to the best sells. That means maintaining deep stocks of the best selling items, which are also maybe called key items. So, deep stocks of key items means generally the practice of maintaining a lot of variety in the best selling products, best selling items. So, you keep lot of variety in terms of the styles, in terms of the sizes, in terms of the colors, in terms of the fabrics. So, that is called deep stocks of key items. So, another important term that we frequently use in merchandising is the demographics. So, what is demographics? Demographics is nothing but vital statistics of population. So, it is the data related to the population, related to certain vital parameters. So, it can be, for example, income. What are the income levels of the population? So, then what is the age group? So, at what, so overall if you look at, some countries may have their population aged, some countries may have their population young. So, what is the age wise distribution of the population? Similarly, what are the education levels of the population? What are the educational levels of the population? How many of them are graduates? How many of them are postgraduates? How many of them are holding doctorate? How many of them are not even graduates? So, this kind of information related to the population is called demographics. The next term is department store group. So, individual stores that work cooperatively with members of Associated Merchandise Corporation, Allied Store Corporation, or May department stores can be the example. So, department store group is nothing but it is the individual stores that work cooperatively with the members of the Associated Merchandising Corporation. So, they work cooperatively with Associated Merchandising Corporation. So, that is called department store group. Direct authorization. The next term is direct authorization. So, what is direct authorization? Salesperson obtains credit authorization before releasing send merchandise to delivery. So, that means salesperson is getting credit authorization before sending or releasing the merchandise to sending the delivery. In contrast to drawback system of authorization, this is a direct authorization. The next term is direct mail. Direct mail. Use of mails to make announcements, to sell merchandise, sell services, sell the store, its divisions, its departments, its character and its way of doing business. So, this is that is using direct mails. So, the mails will go directly to the prospective customers. So, personal approach to selective audiences. That means you are personally approaching the selected audience through direct mail. Another important term is direct selling. So, what is direct selling? Direct selling is vendor selling direct to ultimate consumer, bypassing the wholesaler and retailer. So, direct selling is the manufacturer or the vendor is selling directly to the end consumer. So, by bypassing the wholesalers as well as retailers. So, selling directly to the end consumer, the ultimate user, is called direct selling. The next important term is discount merchandising. Discount merchandising. So, how do we understand the term discount merchandising? Discount merchandising is low margin retailing. It is a low margin retailing. That means margins are less. Generally self-service, and that means the customers have to self-service in the store. Selling goods with less than normal markup. So the markup that the store is getting is less than the normal markups that other stores would use. At less than prices usually offered by conventional retailers. So since the markups are also less, the prices are also less than the what the traditional retailers use. So as a result, they will be selling the goods at a less margin. So this is called discount merchandising. So the next term is discount store. Discount store. So what is a discount store? Discount store is a store operating on lower overall margin than conventional store selling. Same type of merchandise generally offers less service. So discount stores thrive on less prices, discounted prices, and they are low on the service aspect, but their selling point is the price. So they sell price at discounted prices and at a lower margins. So they get lower margins, but they try to achieve more volumes of sales. So that is what is a discount store. Next important term is display. So what do you understand by the term display, especially in the context of merchandising? So display refers to the visual merchandising. So it is a non-personal physical presentation of merchandise or ideas. How do you present the merchandise to the customers? So how do you display the product in the store, whether through windows or feature displays or inside the store displays? How the merchandise is displayed? So that is very, very important, especially in apparel merchandising and apparel retail business. So this can be a window, or how the store exterior is done, or how the store interior is done. So all these things are important. So how do we display the merchandise in the store is of great significance in fashion merchandising and apparel merchandising. So the next thing is dollar control. Dollar control. So what do we understand by the term dollar control, frequently used in merchandising? So dollar control refers to control of stock markdowns. Control of stock markdowns. That means you try to keep markdowns in control, and markups, may manage the markups and sales in terms of dollars rather than by units of percentage. That means in terms of currency value, whether it is a currency, maybe rupees, it can be dollars. So you try to control the stock markdowns, control the markups, manage the markups and sales in terms of the value of the merchandise in terms of a currency. So the next important term is sales per square foot. It can be dollar sales or rupees sales in terms of dollars or in rupees or any currency. So sales per square foot. Departmental results are derived by dividing each department's net sales by the average number of square feet of selling space occupied by the department. So that means you get this term by dividing the net sales. The net sales of the department is divided by the square feet of selling space occupied by the department. So that gives sales per square foot. That gives sales per square foot. Increasing sales per square foot is an important objective. That means each and every square foot of space occupied by the department in the store is very, very valuable. The store is paying a good lease amount or rental amount for the same. So how do you get better sales out of the space that you are using? So it is an indicator of how the department is doing, and a department can be set a very good objective of increasing their sales per square foot. So that means the net sales of the department upon the area occupied by the department in terms of the square feet of the area. So the higher is the ratio, the better the department is doing. So that is what we can analyze, and we can compare this figure with different departments within the store. So whichever department is having higher sales per square foot, which means that the department is necessarily probably is doing better than the other department with less ratios of sales per square foot. The another important term in this context in merchandising is dropship. Dropship. So what is a dropship? How do you understand the term dropship? So when buyer orders merchandise shipped directly to the specific branch store, it is noted that the order to drop ship to particular store. This procedure saves time and expense of vendor shipping to central warehouse and stores transshipping to the designated branch. It also means that branch store will not be out for a long period. Sometimes it is more expensive in terms of the freight cost. So dropship is a method whereby the vendor is shipping directly to the branch stores, So this will save time and effort in the sense that all the merchandise need not come to the central warehouse. Again you transship from central warehouse to the branch stores. So all that procedure is avoided. But it also may involve slight increase in the freight cost, because the vendor is, instead of shipping a consolidated amount of merchandise directly to the central warehouse, he is shipping particular quantity of merchandise at each and every store directly. So that will slightly increase, it will definitely increase the freight cost, but it will save the time and effort for the store, as the merchandise is no longer needed to go to the central warehouse, and again there it is transshipped to the individual stores. So that is what is the significance of drop ship. EDP, electronic data processing. So work done or expected to be done by the computer. That means EDP systems are being installed in almost every business house nowadays, courtesy computerization. EDP is a great enabler. EDP, data processing, is a great enabler of the business process. Particularly the data is accessed very easily. The status of any process is known very easily. So prior to computerization, the organization and the people working in the organization are greatly dependent on people to people relation in getting the data, in getting the information, and that has been a cumbersome task. Now all the data is available at a click of a mouse to any of the executive. He can access the information on data that is required, and the status, real-time status of any particular process, real-time status of a, say, garment production of a particular style in a garment manufacturing unit can be known. Status of fabric arrival can be known. So all this information in a business house is completely computerized, and data is entered, so that the data can be and the information can be accessed by anyone working in the organization as per his or her needs. So that is the importance of electronic data processing, EDP. The next term is employee discount. So what do we understand by the term employee discount? It is nothing but discount given to employees on purchase of merchandise for their own use. That is, employee discount is given by the retail store to their employees when they purchase merchandise for their own use. So that is called employee discount. To put it simply, employees discount is a discount given by the store to its employees when they purchase merchandise in the store. Then comes another term, that is enclosed mall. Enclosed mall. What is an enclosed mall? Enclosed mall is a shopping center. Enclosed mall is a shopping center where all stores face enclosed central mall with a year-round air conditioning. So, an enclosed mall is, as the name indicates, as the term indicates, is really an enclosed mall where the shopping center, and it is a shopping center, all the stores face enclosed central mall with a year-round air conditioning. So, that is what is enclosed mall. Another term to understand is end of aisle. End of aisle. So, what is end of aisle? Spaces fronting on main traffic aisles, particularly important location for 4.5 second stopper displays to develop impulse sales. So, end of aisles, as the name indicates, is a space fronting a main traffic aisles. So, it is a space fronting the main traffic aisles. So, it is an important location for 4.5 to second stopper displays to develop impulse sales. So, these end of sales are an important place for displays, second stopper displays, where the customers would stop because it is end of the aisle and they are captively forced to look at the display there. So, there if you display something, an item which can be purchased on impulse, so it is likely to create impulse sales. So, this end of aisle space can be increased, can be utilized to display the product which can be purchased on an impulse. So, that is the importance of end of aisles. The next term is end sizes. End sizes. So, what is end sizes? Extreme sizes of an assortment, smallest and the largest, which store seldom carries in depth. So, end sizes are the extreme sizes. It is the smallest size of the assortment and also the largest size of the assortment. So, these extreme sizes, the end sizes are seldom carried in depth. That means, the store may not carry in depth variety in that extreme sizes or the end sizes, because the sales expected may not be of very high sales. So, that is the reason the store seldom carries good depth in end sizes. So, coming to the next term, that is ensemble. Ensembles are the only goods that will harmonize with other goods are bought. So, these are ensembles are again a group of products and that will harmonize with other goods, that will harmonize with the other goods. So, ensembles are basically, it is a kind of collection of goods. The next term is entrepreneur. Who is an entrepreneur and what do we understand? How do we understand the term entrepreneur? So, entrepreneur is a person who arranges and manages any enterprise. So, basically, to put it simply, entrepreneur is a person who manages an enterprise, especially new or untried business. But this term is particularly used when somebody is starting a business in a new business, an untried business. So, where the person is seeing an opportunity. So, entrepreneur is the one who sees an opportunity in an untried area and he sees and he is ready to take the risk. He is a risk taker and he is a opportunity seeker. So, entrepreneur is generally used in that context. Exclusive merchandise. Exclusive merchandise. So, what is exclusive merchandise? What is exclusive merchandise? Exclusive merchandise is the merchandise which is not available in other stores. Exclusive merchandise is available only in the particular store and not in the other stores. So how does a store offer exclusive merchandise to its customers? So it is offered through private labels, through store brands, private labels, and the specific merchandise that may be available in that store only, not in other. So mainly it is through the private labels and store brands. The next term is fad. Fad is a short-lived fashion. Fad is a short-lived fashion. Vis-a-vis the classic that we have discussed some time back. Classic is a long-lived fashion, and whereas the fad is a very short-lived fashion. So a fashion which is coming, a trend which is coming in existence, suddenly it is gaining popularity and suddenly it is vanishing. So a fad is a short-lived fashion. That is why it is called a fad. And fad may arise because of various reasons. It may be because of the films, it may be because of the celebrities and various influences. Then comes the another term that is called financing the consumer purchases. Financing the consumer purchases. So what is the meaning of that? Stores provide merchandise for their customers, whether the customer pay cash or uses a 30-day charge account or a time payment plan or revolving credit plan. So that means various purchasing and financing options made available for consumer purchases. The store may give directly, or the store may involve some finance companies, credit card companies, for financing the giving offers on financing the consumer purchases. So that is to facilitate the purchasing by these consumers. It will enable consumers to purchase the merchandise. It incentivizes the consumers to make the purchases. So that is, it is basically an enabler of purchases, financing the consumer purchases. Then another important term is fixturing. Fixturing is the layout and selection of fixtures to arrange merchandise for customer convenience, particularly important for self-satisfaction. So basically fixtures are used in the organized retail outlets. The fixtures are used to display the merchandise. So there are a lot of fixtures on the selling floor. There are 4-way fixtures, 2-way fixtures, there are bulk fixtures, okay, there are gondolas. So these fixtures will enable the display of the merchandise, which will facilitate the browsing of the merchandise by the customers. So the customers are made comfortable for browsing the merchandise because the products are displayed on the fixtures. The another important term is floating displays. Floating displays. So what are floating displays? So moved from location to location within flagship store to branch store. A floating displays are the displays which are floating. That means in the literally they can be moved from place to place, store to store. So they have a mobility, easily mobile displays. So the display can be easily moved to other places. That is called floating displays. Forward stock. The next term is forward stock. So what is a forward stock and how do we understand that? So the stock carried in the selling department is called forward stock. That means there is a stock which is there in the warehouse, there is a stock which is displayed in the selling space, and there is a stock which is carried in the selling department. So that is there called forward stock. Next important term is full line. Next important term is full line. So what is full line? How do we understand that? Stock of any given classification of goods, which includes every variety of style in every color, in every size and in every material that a customer can reasonably expect to obtain at a given price. A full line consists of 4 different categories: staples, style merchandise, novelties, out of sizes. That means stock that have size element. So basically a full line is a class, any classification which is carried in which carries full variety with respect to color, with respect to size, with respect to the style. So there are complete depth is carried. So that is called a full line. Gamble items. The next term is gamble items. So what are gamble items? Gamble items are new products that the store wants to test for customers' acceptance and reaction. That means it is basically for testing. So you just try to gamble and see whether customers are accepting or what is the reaction and feedback of the customers. So it is basically for the testing purpose. So new products are tested, and when they are tested for customer feedback or acceptance, so they are called gamble items. So why the gamble means the store is just gambling in that way, whether it may be successful, it may be accepted by the customers, or customers may as well give a negative feedback and do not accept. So there is a gamble in it. Next term is general merchandise stores. General merchandise stores. So what are general merchandise stores? What are the general merchandise stores? So general merchandise stores include department stores, dry goods stores, most mail order houses and variety stores. That generally general merchandise stores sell many different varieties of product groups, product varieties. So that is called general merchandise stores. The next term is glossies. So what is the meaning of the term glossies? Prints of merchandise, photographs supplied to stores advertising of display department for reproduction. So glossies are nothing but prints of merchandise, photographs supplied to stores advertising for display department for reproduction. So they are supplied for reproduction by the display department to the display department of the store. They are called glossies. The another term is the graphics, which is frequently used is graphics. So what is the meaning of the term graphics? Graphics means it can be an illustration, it can be a descriptive technique including sketches, wash drawings, paintings, watercolors, engravings and photographs. So graphics are illustration, descriptive techniques. So it including sketches, wash drawings, paintings, watercolors, engravings and photographs. So it can be usage of any of these things for creation. In a merchandising context, one of the most important term which is often discussed is gross margin. Gross margin is many a times a very important parameter for the store. So we have already discussed how do you calculate gross margin and what is the importance of gross margin. So let us again understand what is the meaning of gross margin. Gross margin is the difference between net sales and cost of the goods sold. It is the gross margin is the difference between the net sales minus cost of the goods sold. So which is also known as COGS, cost of goods sold. The room to move around in that determines the net operating profit after subtracting the operating expense. So when you subtract operational expenses from the gross margin, you will get the net profit. Shrinkage avoided careful handling of initial mark-ons, markdowns and discounts. So how do you handle the initial markup and mark-on, and how do you handle your markdowns and discounts? They are all important in managing your gross margin. So that is the importance of gross margin. The another term again which is important in the context is the guarantee. So guarantee is a term we often use, especially in various white goods transactions, etc. So how do we understand the term guarantee? A guarantee is a promise. A guarantee is a promise, or guarantee is an assurance. Guarantee is an assurance or promise, especially one in writing that something is specified. So guarantee is generally given in writing, and it is specified for the quantity, quality, content, benefit, or that it will perform satisfactory for a given length of time. So a money back guarantee. So a guarantee may be given in writing that a product is guaranteed for a given quantity, for a given quality, content, or for a given performance over a period of time, or for a specified period of time. If the product fails to meet the guaranteed period, if the product fails within the guaranteed period, then a money back is may be given, or a replacement of the product is guaranteed, or the rectification of the product is guaranteed. So that is the guarantee that we talk about, especially in the merchandising context. Half size. Another term that we need to discuss is half size. So what is the meaning of half size? Sizing in coats, suits and dresses for women who are not as tall as average size. So half size is especially for the people who are not as tall as even the average size. So that is called half size. So it is the sizing done in the coats, suits and dresses who are not as tall as average size. The next important term is hard goods. Next important term is hard goods. So what is the meaning of hard goods? So hard goods are the major appliance, including refrigerator, deep freezers, electric and gas ranges, washing machines, dryers, hot water heaters and air conditioners and so on. So the goods of this type, they are known as hard goods. So hard goods are majorly the appliances like refrigerator, washing machine, freezers, okay, electronic gadgets, electrical gadgets. So they are all called hard goods. Another most important term, especially in fashion merchandising, is haute couture. What is haute couture? So haute couture it is a French term. Haute couture is a French term. It refers to high fashion. Haute couture refers to high fashion and designer wear. High fashion and designer wear. So it is a very, very popular term, particularly in fashion context. So it is called haute couture. Another term is high end. So what is the meaning of high end in our context? High end means most expensive merchandise in a classification. High end means when you have a classification, when you have a group of merchandise, in that merchandise, what is the most expensive item? That is the high end item. That is the high end. Another term is hold slip. Hold slip. So what is hold slip? Hold slip is the form used to identify merchandise that customer desires to purchase later. So that means hold slip is a form to identify merchandise that customer desires to purchase later. So, the customer is giving an indication that he wants to purchase a particular merchandise at a later stage. So, for that you have what is known as hold slip. The next term is impulse merchandise. Impulse merchandise. What is the meaning of impulse merchandise? What is the meaning of impulse merchandise? Articles of fashion merchandise purchased on spur of movement. They are articles of merchandise purchased on spur of movement by customer without predetermined consideration. That means the customer has no predetermined intention to buy that product, but on seeing the product, on looking at the product, he has decided to purchase on a spur of movement. He is attracted and he decided to buy that product at that instant. So that the articles which are purchased like that, they are called impulse merchandise. They are called impulse merchandise. The next term is informative labeling. Informative labeling. What is informative labeling? Informative labeling refers to marking merchandise or its packages with specifications, including the illustrations of the merchandise and or with those facts about the usefulness and care that will aid customer in making an intelligent choice and proper using of goods. That means informative labeling is, as the name indicates, as the term indicates, the label which gives information about the product, specifications about the merchandise, information about the product, how to use the product, how to take care of the product. So, all this information will also enable the customer to make an intelligent decision to use the goods properly. So, that is called informative labeling. Another important term in merchandising context is the initial markup or mark-on. Initial markup or initial mark-on. Initial and the first mark-on used when the merchandise is offered for sale. The first markup when the merchandise is offered for sale for the first time is called initial markup. Next term is initial units. So, what is the meaning of initial units? Initial selection of items. Initial selection of items or a line or a classification of merchandise at beginning of a year or a season or any reorders based on customers' acceptance, that is called initial units. Initial units means it is the initial selection of items or a line or a classification at the beginning of the season. Next term is in transit. In transit. So, what is the meaning? In transit means merchandise that has left consignor's premises and is en route to its destination. So, that means the merchandise is in transit from the manufacturer or the vendor or the wholesaler to the buyer's warehouse. So, the merchandise is on its way from the consignor premises to consignee premises. So, that is called merchandise in transit. The next term is interstore transfer forms. Interstore transfer forms. So, what are interstore transfer forms? Merchandise is listed to be shipped from central warehouse or the flagship store to branch store or from one branch store to the another branch. So, intertransfer forms or merchandise, it is the merchandise which is listed for transfer, which is listed for shipment from one store to the other store, or from central warehouse to the branch store. So that is called inter-store transfer forms. The next term is internal audit. This is again a very important term. Internal audit refers to plan of verification and control for checking the store systems for accuracy, validity and conformity to plan. So internal audit is the internal inspection, internal verification. So to see whether the things are going as per the plan, whether stock records are tallying with the physical records, whether results are as per the plan or not. So the internal audit would enable to verify and rectify the deviations. Then the next term is intimate apparel. So what are intimate apparel? So intimate apparel, it can be men's or women's, it can be the lingerie, women's, misses, juniors, corset, brassiers, underwear, slips and negligees and robes, lounging apparel. So intimate apparel is the lingerie in terms of women, and intimate apparel in terms of in case of men. Intra-store transfer. Intra-store transfer, this is the next term. Intra-store transfer refers to buying goods from one selling department for another selling department within a store. So the goods are being purchased from one store of the department in store to the another department within a store. Inventory physical, or physical inventory we can call. So what is the meaning of inventory physical? Determining by actual inspection the merchandise on hand in store, in stock rooms and in warehouses, and also recording this information. So inventory physical is physically verifying how much stock is there available in the store, in the warehouse, in the stock rooms. So it is a actual physical verification of stock counts. Inventory recovery. Inventory recovery. So the term inventory recovery is a concept based on a reserve created in expectancy of a losses through theft and other causes. So there are some theft and pilferage which is inevitable in the inventory maintenance. So inventory recovery is a concept of a reserve created in expectancy of a reserve in the inventory created in expectation of the losses through theft and pilferage. So the next term is inventory shrinkage. Inventory shrinkage. So what is the meaning of inventory shrinkage? It takes the form of theft, internal and external fraud, record distortion, waste, sabotage, laxity and careless operations. Inventory shrinkage is nothing but shrinkage in the inventory. There is a reduction in the inventory because of various reasons. Because of the reasons like theft, there can be some fraud, distortion of the records, there is some pilferage and wastage, there can be some sabotage and careless operations. They all can result in the reduction in the actual inventory. So this is called inventory shrinkage. Next term is invoice. So what is invoice? Invoice is nothing but itemized statement. Itemized statement showing merchandise sent to the store by a supplier. So that means it is a statement given by the supplier or manufacturer or vendor to the buyer. He gives a itemized statement of the merchandise sent and the value of that. So invoice is nothing but a bill raised by the supplier. The next term is item. So what is an item? Item is a specific style, color, size or price of the merchandise. So an item can be identified as a SKU, stock keeping unit also. So item is a identification of a product with respect to style, color, size or price. Item history is the next word. Item history. So what is item history? Item history is nothing but record of the movement of a specific item or line or assortment of merchandise. So item history is a record of the item's movement. So when the item has arrived in central warehouse, when it is transferred from central warehouse to the store, from a branch store to another branch store, and when it is sold. So the entire history of an item is called item history. The next term is job lot. So what is the meaning of job lot? Job lot is it is a miscellaneous group of assortment. A miscellaneous group of assortment of styles, sizes, colors, etc. purchased by a store as a lot at a reduced price. So generally the merchandise which is purchased as a job lot, so it will have a miscellaneous group of assortment of styles, sizes and colors. So it is not a regular assortment, regular merchandise, but a group of miscellaneous assortment, and it is purchased at a reduced price, and the store would sell at a reduced price in the store and still make some margins. So that is the importance of job lot. Then the next term is Kimball tags. Kimball tags. What is the meaning of Kimball tags? A pre-punched tags attached to the merchandise and containing size and style information provided for high-speed processing and counting, used in the inventory control reports, recording and restocking. So Kimball tags, they are pre-punched tags, and they will carry the information about the size, style and other information. So it enables high-speed processing and counting of the merchandise. So it greatly enables inventory control, and it is good for recording and restocking. So it is easy for inventory control and inventory handling. The Kimball tags would enable a good inventory management and good inventory control. The next term is knockoff. Next term is knockoff. So what is a knockoff? Knockoff is close reproduction of a design of a textile or apparel product. Differences in the copy may be shadings in color, not easily apparent to the public, small size, less weight, and often refers to knockoffs, which sell for lower price than the original. So knockoffs are generally, it is a close reproduction of a design or a apparel product. So there can be some differences in the copy. So but these may not be these may not be apparent to the regular customers, so general public. So that is what is then landed cost. The next term is landed cost. So what is the meaning of landed cost? So landed cost is the total cost and charges for merchandise on dock after conveyance from the foreign port, also term for total cost to buy and bring in and land into the store. So landed cost, as the name indicates, is the total cost incurred per garment or per product, so to get the product landed in the store. So all the transportation costs, insurance costs, freight costs and cost of the product itself. So the total cost is known as a landed cost. The next term is layaway. So what is the meaning of layaway? Layaway is a method of deferred payment in which merchandise is held by store for customer until completely paid for, where the merchandise is held by store customer until completely paid for. So that is called layaway, method of deferred payments. The next term is line. So an agate line, a vertical measurements of a column of a type, 14 lines to an inch, and an assortment of designs presented by a designer or manufacturer. So line has one meaning, that is, it is an agate line, a vertical measurements of a column type. The another meaning of, and most commonly used meaning in the merchandising, is the line is an assortment of designs. Line is an assortment of designs presented by a designer or a manufacturer. The next topic, next term is lobby window. Lobby window. So what is the meaning of lobby window? Generally a small display window directly inside a door leading into the store from street. So lobby window is a small display window directly inside a door leading into the store from the street. The next important term is loss leader. So what is the meaning of loss leader? Loss leader, it is a merchandise advertised and sold at near or even below the cost by the store to bring customers into the store. So it is called loss leader or loss leader pricing method. So it involves selling a popular merchandise, selling a very popular merchandise at a price which is cost price or even below the cost price, in order to increase the footfalls to the store and also to increase the sales of the store. So that is called loss leader pricing. So it is an important promotional method used by the stores. Then comes the term low end. So what is the meaning of low end? Least expensive merchandise in a classification. Some time back we have seen high end. What is it? Is the most expensive item in a merchandise classification. Similarly, low end is the lower end of the or the least expensive item in a or a merchandise in a classification. It is called low end. Low margin retailing. The next term is low margin retailing. So what is the meaning of low margin retailing? Low margin retailing means discount or mass merchandising. That means the retail store is selling the merchandise at a very less price. That means they are banking on a very low margins but higher amount of sales. So high volume of sales but low margins. So their selling point is the lower prices at a lower margins. So that is called low margin retailing. Another important term which is catching up nowadays in retailing is the made to measure. Made to measure. So how do we understand the term made to measure? Particularly men's suits and overcoats, draperies and slipovers and floor coverings they are cut and sewn to fit. So these products especially, they are cut and then stitched to fit them well as per their measurements. So they result in larger sales book. So this is called made to measure. That means the merchandise is made as per the measurements to give a better fit. The next term is mail order department. Mail order department. So department charged with proper distribution of requests received through mails from customers. For specific merchandise, department must account for cash remittances with request and properly credit each department for such remittances. That means mail order department is in charge of proper distribution of requests they receive from the customers through mails. So the customers will send payment for a particular merchandise. So the mail order department would dispatch the merchandise to the concerned merchandise to the concerned customers, and also it is their responsibility to make cash remittances to the corresponding department. So that is what is known as a mail order department. The next term is maintained markup. Maintained markup. So what is the meaning of maintained markup? Maintained markup is the difference between net sales and gross cost of goods sold. It is on the overall, what is the total net sales for a given season or a given year? What is the total net sales minus what is the total cost of goods sold in that period. So net sales minus COGS in a particular period. So this difference gives maintained markup of the store. The next term is managing an inventory. Managing an inventory. So what is the meaning of managing an inventory? Meeting monthly peaks and valleys in any line of merchandise by increasing inventory prior to the peak of selling periods, reducing it as the peak wanes. That means managing an inventory is inventory management technique. So whereby it is ensured that as the sales reach a peak, the inventory level is also reaching peak sometime before sales reach the peak. Similarly, as the sales wane, sales reduce and they reach a they are declining and reaching a valley position, the inventory level also should accordingly be following. So this careful planning and managing the inventory as per the peaks and troughs of sales and peaks and troughs of inventory before the peaks and troughs of sales is the managing an inventory. The next term is mannequin. The next term is mannequin. So what is a mannequin? So mannequin again a very important term, especially in the context of visual merchandising and retailing. Mannequin means a clothes model, a styled and three-dimensional representation. It is a three-dimensional representation of human form. Three-dimensional representation of human form used in display windows or store display and ready-to-wear selling floors display of the apparel. So mannequins are used to display the products. So using human beings for display of product is very difficult. So but mannequins can do that job very well. And mannequins are again different types. There are realistic mannequins, there are semi-realistic mannequins, and there are abstract mannequins, and there are also dress forms available. So there are different types of mannequins which are available for visual merchandisers fulfilling their requirements. The next term is manufacturer's representative. Manufacturer's representative. So what is the meaning of manufacturer's representative? Manufacturer's representative is a selling agent. He is basically a selling agent, preferably retail minded, capable of giving informative talks to selling personnel. So manufacturing representative is always meeting the buyers and he is giving the information, he is giving talks to selling personnel, talking about the merchandise, talking about the products. So he is always representing the manufacturer and promoting the sales. The next important term is markdown. The next important term is markdown. Markdown is reduction in the retail price of a merchandise. Markdown is reduction in the retail price of merchandise, primarily for clearance of broken assortments, end sizes, prior stock and special sales events to meet the competition. So markdown is basically a reduction in the selling price. So original selling price minus reduced selling price, the difference is the markdown. So markdown can be taken for various reasons: to sell the product which is getting obsolete, which is declining in fashion, and to sell the end sizes, to sell the broken assortments. Markdowns can be given. Markdowns can also be given to sell a prior stock, and markdowns are given in case of special sales events, and markdowns are sometimes given to meet the competition. So these are all the various reasons and occasions for which markdowns are given. So that way, markdown is an important concept in the retail merchandising process. The next term is market. So market is basically a place, is a buyer-seller's place. So where retailers buy merchandise. So in retail context, in a retail buying context, market generally refers to where the buyers buy the merchandise. So that is what is known as a market place. The next term is marketing. So marketing, there are a lot of definitions available in the dictionaries and the textbooks. So many types of definitions are available. So marketing, total research, development, planning, pricing, distribution, promotional activities involved in moving goods and services from producer to seller to consumer. So the total research, development, planning, pricing, distribution and promotional activities involved in moving goods and services from producer to seller to then to consumer. The total marketing requires integration of all these activities. The total marketing is nothing but integration of all these activities while the product moves from manufacturer to the end consumer. The next term is markup. So markup is again a very important term in a merchandising context. So markup refers to the difference between cost price as billed before deductions for cash discount and retail price at which the merchandise is offered for sale to the customers. So sometimes it may also be called mark-on, but more popularly it will be known as a markup. So markup is a very important parameter in merchandising. So the markup includes though it is majorly the difference between the cost price and the retail price, it covers for the business expenses, it covers for the expected margin, and it also covers for expected markdowns, etc. The next term is mass merchandising. So what is the meaning of mass merchandising? Self-service store displaying and selling all kinds of merchandise. Displays tend to be massive. Customers usually push wire carts to collect and carry their own selection to merchandise to cashier checkout counters. So mass merchandising merchandisers, they basically bank on the price, lower prices and higher volumes, and the store ambience and store service levels would be low, but customers will be willing to patronize the stores for the sake of the competitive prices they are getting from the store, the less prices they are getting from the store. The next term is memorandum and consignment selling. Here the vendor agrees to take back goods. In a consignment selling, the vendor is agreeing to take back the goods if they are not sold in a specific period of time. Since the markdowns risk is borne by the vendor, the buyer's maintenance is equal to his initial markup. Under the memorandum arrangement, title passes to the buyer ordinarily when the goods are shipped, but vendor assumes the contracted obligation of taking back unsold portion of goods at a specific time. On consignment purchase, the title does not pass on to the store but instead passes directly from vendor to the store customers. So store acts simply as an agent for vendor, and vendor can control retail price. So there is a slight difference between memorandum and consignment selling. In memorandum, the title would pass on to the store, and if the goods are not sold in a specific period, and it will be taken back by the vendor. Same is the case with consignment selling, but here the title in the goods will not pass on to the store. The title passes directly from the vendor to the customer, and store merely facilitates the sales. So that is a consignment selling. If the merchandise is not sold, it is returned to the vendor. The next term is merchandise classification. So what is the meaning of merchandise classification? Merchandise classification is a group of merchandise reasonably interchangeable. A group of merchandise reasonably interchangeable from consumer's point of view. So merchandising classification basically identifies the various types of items in a merchandise group. The next term is merchandise control. So what is the meaning of merchandise control? It is a department that maintains accurate figures on purchases, sale merchandise either by dollar or by units or by both. So merchandise control department maintains complete statistics on purchases, sales, and in terms of either a currency amount, value of the merchandise, or in terms of the units of the merchandise, or it can also maintain the statistics in terms of the both. The next term is merchandise dissection control. What is merchandise dissection control? Method of controlling sales and purchases of a dissection of merchandise by style, by niche, by color, by type. So controlling the dissection by style or dissection by color or type. So this is a merchandise dissection control. Merchandise marts. The next term is merchandise marts. So what do we understand by the term merchandise marts? So merchandise marts are buildings housing the showrooms for manufacturers and importers, where under one roof store buyers and merchandise managers can inspect lines from resources in minimum time. So merchandise marts are usually the places where the manufacturers and importers assemble in under one roof and display the products. So it is like a buyer-seller meet happening in under one umbrella. So the merchandise from manufacturers and importers is available in under one roof. So these buyers can go there, inspect, and make their orders. The next term is merchandise specification. The next term is merchandise specification. So merchandise specification refers to what buyer sets up or obtains specification for quantities expressed in necessary technical terms. So these are the specifications for quantities expressed in the necessary technical terms. Proper specification cannot always be determined until needs and expectations of customer have been carefully analyzed and until some experimental work has been done. Development of private brands or controlled brands has increased the need for rigid specifications prepared for by the store's merchandise divisions. So merchandise specifications are particularly important in case of sourcing of private labels or store brands. So where the buyer gives the specifications and manufacturers would produce the goods as per the specifications given by the buyer. The next term is model stock. Model stock is again a very popular term in the merchandising context. Model stock refers how much of what. So to have a stock which has the right goods at right time in right quantities. So model stock is the ideal stock situation where each SKU is how much should be in stock. So that is how much of what, how much should be stock should be present of each item. So that is called model stock. the next term is mom and pop outlets. What are these mom and pop outlets? How do we understand that? They are small stores generally operated by husband and wife team. So mom and pop outlets are generally a small store operated by husband wife team with limited capital and in a restricted selling area. The selling area is restricted. They are very dependent on wholesaler or distributor for financial support. So they also have good dependence on the distributor or wholesaler for financial support. The next term is neighborhood shopping center. Neighborhood shopping center. So what is a neighborhood shopping center? The next term is neighborhood shopping center. So what is the meaning of neighborhood shopping center? Neighborhood shopping center is a 10 to 15 stores conglomeration including food, drug, sundry and personal service stores. It may be in an area of 5 to 10 acres, and to sustain this neighborhood shopping center, it requires at least 1,000 families in the trading area for support, and usually under 1 lakh square feet area. Sometimes this is also referred to as strip center. A neighborhood shopping center many a times is also referred to as a strip center. The next term is non-saleable. Non-saleable. Merchandise which is soiled or damaged beyond reclamation. The merchandise which is soiled and damaged beyond reclamation, so or saleability, it is generally disposed of to charitable organizations. So that means the merchandise can no more be sold as a regular merchandise because it is damaged and soiled beyond repair. So maybe it may be given to the charity organizations. The next term is number of stock turns. Number of stock turns. What is the meaning of number of stock turns? Stock turnover is calculated by dividing average inventory at retail into net sales for the year. Stock turnover is calculated by dividing the average inventory at retail by net sales. Average inventory is divided by net sales for the year. Average inventory is the sum of retail inventories at the end of each month added to the initial opening inventory and divided by number of inventories used. So this is how the average inventory is calculated. So the average inventory is divided by the net sales for that period. So that will give the stock turnover ratio. The next term is one-stop shopping. One-stop shopping. So one-stop shopping refers to everything a customer would need for self, family, home located under one roof. So one-stop shopping means that the customer, whatever his requirements for himself, for herself, for her family, for his family and for the home, all can be purchased under one roof. That means it is a place all their requirements can be purchased under from one place. That is called one-stop shopping. So the next term is on order. On order. So what is the meaning of on order? So on order means it is the merchandise purchased but not yet arrived or not yet received. So the store has or the buyer has placed order for the purchasing of the merchandise. The order is placed, but the merchandise is yet to be received by the store's warehouse or the store. So, but that is called on order merchandise. The next term is open order. Open order. So, what is the meaning of open order? Open order is the order placed without price or delivery stipulations. Order sent to the market representative in resident buying office without specifying the vendor. So, an open order is an order which specifies that they need a certain specified merchandise. So, there is no delivery stipulation and no price stipulation, but it is sent to the market representative in the resident buying office or BO without specifying any vendor. The next term is in the merchandising, which is very important, is OTB, open to buy. So, open to buy is a merchandise planning system which indicates on a real time basis in a computerized situation as to how much is open to buy by a buyer in terms of the merchandise value. A buyer's budget for the purchase of merchandise for every delivery within a given period and resultant figure of dollar earning. So, the open to buy is nothing but how much more is open to buy on a particular date, particular time, at a particular date and a particular time for the buyer to buy the merchandise. So, it indicates how much more merchandise he can buy without exceeding the optimum inventory levels. The next term is outpost displays. Outpost displays. Merchandise displayed with informative signs at tropic points, so away from its regular selling department. So, outpost displays. So, it is nothing but displaying the merchandise by giving information signs at tropic points in the store, but away from its regular selling department. So, this is to basically to highlight a very promising merchandise, or maybe a newly arrived merchandise, etc. So, this is called outpost displays. The next term is peak season. So, what is the meaning of peak season? Months or season time in which an item or a line of merchandise is greatest in customer demand. So, for example, skis during major snow months. In a major snow months, skis will be sold more. So, that means peak season is a time in the season, or is a month in a season in which a particular item or a line of goods will be sold, or they will be sold at a greatest level, or they will be in a greatest customer demand. So, that is called peak season. The next term is pickups. So, what is the meaning of pickups? Pickups, merchandise picked up from customer's home and returned to the store by delivery department upon customer's request. So, pickups are nothing but customer returns, and these customer returns are handled by the delivery department. So, they are picked up from the customer's home and brought back to the store by the delivery department at the customer's request. So, that is the meaning of pickups. Piece goods. So, what is the meaning of piece goods? Piece goods is nothing but fabrics. So, the fabrics are always often called in the industry terms piece goods. So, they are the raw materials for garment manufacturing. So, they are always referred to as piece goods. The next term is POP, point of purchase display and signs. Point of purchase display is an important display technique employed by the visual merchandising. The display of an item or a product at the point of purchase is very crucial. So, the display would enhance the product, it would highlight the product, it would also give information about the product, its usage, and its utility. So that way POP, point of purchase display, plays a major role in the promotion of certain products. So the next topic or the next term is pre-authorizing. Pre-authorizing means obtaining credit authorization for charge send transactions prior to the packages or merchandise leaving the department. So taking a prior credit authorization is known as pre-authorizing. The next term is preferred resource. Preferred resource. So what is the meaning of preferred resource? Manufacturer, wholesaler or importer from which department proportion a line of classification of merchandise is brought and to whom the store gives preferred treatment. So preferred resource is the resource, it is either a manufacturer or wholesaler. So which an important portion or line of or classification of merchandise is bought and to whom the store gives preferred treatment. So that is preferred resource. So that means a store is preferring a particular manufacturer or a particular importer or a particular wholesaler is preferred to buy a particular line of goods or particular classification of merchandise. So that is the meaning of a preferred resource. The next term is prepay. Payment of all shipping charges for merchandise by vendor. Payment of all shipping charges for merchandise by vendor. So it refers to prepay. Who rebills the charges to purchase on invoice for the merchandise. So the charges are again rebilled to the purchaser or the buyer on invoice for the merchandise. So the consignor or the vendor is only prepaying the shipping charges to be rebilled to the purchaser later. Pre-wrap. The next term is pre-wrap. So what is the meaning of pre-wrap? So pre-wrap refers to wrapping of merchandise before putting on sale. Finding extensive use for types of merchandise of standard quality. Also merchandise wrapped or packaged by manufacturer for store, send or customer take with. So pre-wrap is nothing but wrapping of merchandise before putting on sale and finding extensive use types of merchandise of standard quality. Price brackets. The next term is price brackets. Price brackets refers to definite price zones or price levels. So in a store, the merchandise is generally sold in a given price zones or price levels. So it is not that the merchandise is sold at any imaginable price, but rather the merchandise is generally sold at a specific price levels or price zones. So these are called price brackets. Yeah, another related term is price zone. Prices at which greatest sales volume can be produced. So price zone is like an optimum price level for the store customers. So it is the where you have maximum sales can be realized from the customers. So that is what is called price zone. The most important next term is private brand, particularly in a merchandising, retail merchandising context. Private brand is an important term. Private brand is a controlled or a private label merchandise developed under store's own brand or developed under RBO's label exclusively for member stores. So private brand or private label is available with a specific retail store and it is not available in other stores or in the competitor stores. So it is sold exclusively in a particular retailer. So that is called private brand. The next term is promotional kit. So what is a promotional kit? Promotional kit is ideas, suggestions, materials supplied to the store by vendor. So the vendor is supplying some ideas, suggestions and materials to the store with which the merchandise can be promoted. whether manufacturer, importer or well. So this vendor can be a manufacturer or an importer or a wholesaler, but he is supplying the store with ideas, suggestions and materials, so which can be used by the store to promote the merchandise. The next term is RTW, ready to wear. So ready to wear means clothing made in standard sizes by manufacturers, mass produced apparel for mass acceptance. So ready to wear is produced in standard sizes by the manufacturers and they are produced in mass. So it is a mass produced apparel for mass acceptance and consumption. The next term is receiving. The next term is receiving. So what is the meaning of receiving? Receiving means process of accepting new merchandise. Receiving means process of accepting new merchandise at store or warehouse, include initiating paperwork to get merchandise on the books and processing the incoming transportation bills. So receiving generally refers to the receiving of the merchandise from the supplier, from the vendor or the manufacturer, and receiving the merchandise into the stock. So while receiving the merchandise into the stock, it has to be entered into the relevant books or it has to be entered into the relevant data input into the computer systems. So without which generally the merchandise is not received into the stock. So they have to make a goods received in note, GRN. Then the next term is replenishment orders. The next term is replenishment orders. So what is the meaning of replenishment orders? So replenishment orders mean to fill in the complete assortments in a specific classification, usually referred to as reorder. So replenishment is basically to complete the assortment, to make assortment full-fledged, and this can also be a specific classification. Sometimes this can also be referred as a reorder. The next term is reprint. Reprint. What is the meaning of reprint? It is nothing but copy of an advertisement distributed to stores, customers and or other vendors in specified sales territory who solicit and accept orders that are shipped from vendor's factory and or distributing point, but who do not actually own or stock the merchandise. They don't own or stock the merchandise, but it is only supplying the merchandise for those who solicit. Then REPS, reps. So what is the meaning of reps? Reps are individuals or wholesale companies representing manufacturer. They are representing the manufacturer or other vendors in specified sales, representing the manufacturer or other vendors in specified sales territory, who solicit and accept orders that are shipped from vendor's factory or distributing point, but who do not actually own or stock the merchandise. So reps do not own or stock the merchandise, but on behalf of the manufacturer, they solicit and accept the orders, so and supply to the buyers. Next term is reserve stock control. Reserve stock control is a method of earmarking sufficient amount of stock, to maintain business while additional stock is purchased. So it is keeping some stock in reserve while additional stock is being purchased. So that is called reserve stock control. The next term is a resource. In a merchandising context, what is the meaning of resource? A resource is a manufacturer or importer or wholesaler, or it can be distributor or a selling agent or a rack jobber from whom a store buys or accepts merchandise as owner or selling consignment. So that means resource is nothing but a source from where retail buyer can buy the merchandise, either to own it or to purchase it on consignment. The next term is retail franchisee. The next term is retail franchisee. So what is the meaning of retail franchisee? Retail franchisee refers to exclusive ownership by store in a trading area of prestige manufacturers line. Frequently a line selectively distributed. So retail franchise is nothing but exclusive ownership by a store in a trading of, they will be trading and selling a prestige manufacturer's products. The next term is retail hub. So what is a retail hub? Retail hub refers to a concentration of stores in an area. So retail hub is nothing but a concentration of stores in an area. So it can be a flagship stores of Macy's, it can be many stores at one place, it can be called a retail hub. Next term is retailing. So basically retailing is the business of buying for resale to ultimate customer. So selling to the end consumer is for his own purpose, for his family, for his friends, is called retailing. It is also known as acting as the customer's agent. So that is what is retail. The next term is return policy. So what is the meaning of return policy? Return policy refers to rules and regulations formulated by stores management covering merchandise returns by customer, including exchange, credit, cash refunds and adjustments. So return policy, it gives rules and regulations by the stores management. So how to accept returns from the customers. Returns to the vendor. The next term is returns to the vendors. So returns to vendor refers to shipments of merchandise returned by the store to vendor because of errors in filling the store's purchase order or substitutions in the shipment, or it may be because of the late delivery or defective materials or defective workmanship or defective fit and other reasons, or there can be breach of contract on certain terms. So because of these various reasons, the store can return the goods to the vendor. So that return of goods to vendor is known as a returns to vendor. The next term is ROG, receipt of goods terms. So what is ROG terms? Cash discount terms that begin when merchandise reaches the store. Cash discount terms that begin when merchandise reaches the store, designed to benefit retailers far from resources, and also permits check of goods prior to due date for discount. Check of the goods for prior to the due date for discounts. So that is known as ROG terms, receipt of goods terms. Yeah, we are discussing glossary of terms for merchandising. So the next term is sales analysis. What is the meaning of sales analysis? Sales analysis is sales audit which provides total of sales by salespeople, departments, classifications, etc. That means sales analysis gives what are the sales done by different departments, different classifications, different maybe SKUs, etc. So sales analysis will give do a audit and give the information on what is the sales done by different departments classifications. The next term is sales plan. Sales plan refers to department's promotional program for 6-month period, subject to monthly revision to take advantage of opportunistic purchases and other unpredictable merchandising opportunities. So, sales plan is basically a department's promotional program for 6-month period. So, this will be again subject to the revisions as and when they see the opportunities for merchandising. The next term is sales slip. Sales slip. So, what is the meaning of sales slip? Sales slip is slip of paper from a roll on cash register showing only dollar and cents amount of purchase. So, it is only showing the currency amount and it is just slipping of paper on from a roll on a cash register. Sample room, that is the next term. So, what do we understand by the term sample room? Areas in store or in resident buying office where vendor sales representatives display merchandise samples to buyers or market representatives. This is an important place where basically the market representatives or the sales representative of vendors come and display the samples so that the buyers can make a decision. So, this can happen, this area can be either in the store itself in a designated area or it can be mostly in the resident buying office of the store. Seasonal merchandise. The next term is seasonal merchandise. Seasonal merchandise is merchandise purchased to meet the demands of a specific season. So, for example, extreme instances can be purchases for summer and winter clothing and outdoor furnitures. So, seasonal merchandise is basically a seasonal merchandise specific to for a particular season, and it may not be useful for the other seasons like warm wear woolens for winter. So, they are highly seasonal and that may not be suitable for other seasons. The next term is selling area. Next term is selling area. Selling area is nothing but the next term is selling area. Parts of sales floor devoted exclusively to selling. So, selling area is an area where the fixtures are there, display systems are there, where the merchandise is mostly on the display. So, it contributes directly to the store's sales. So, that is called selling area. The next term is service area. Service area. So, what is service area? Part of sales floor devoted to servicing the selling area, such as escalators, elevators, stairways, freight landings, restrooms, window places. So, these are all called service area. They do not directly contribute to the sales, but they support sales. They support sales, they service the sales. So, that is why it is called service area and not necessarily the selling area. So, it is a service area supporting the sales. The next term is short merchandise. So, what is short merchandise? Merchandise purchased in limited quantities. Merchandise purchased in limited quantities, generally in extreme sizes, to fill an assortment, or also items of purchase that through error were not included in the customer's package or were missing in the shipment from the vendor. So, short merchandise is the merchandise purchased basically in limited quantities, maybe to fill the some gaps in the assortment or to buy some extreme sizes. So, for that purpose the orders placed are called short merchandise. Similarly, we have another term called short SKU. Short SKU. Short SKU is the system which permits full identification of an item, making possible the use of source marked tickets either from backroom processing or cash register, so that ultimately a store will be able to count sales, not stocks. So short SKU will be a system which permits full identification of an item. So it is item can be fully identified, making it possible the use of source marked tickets either from backroom or from processing or from the cash register. The next term is short supply situation. Short supply situation is a situation where buyer has difficulty in maintaining adequate supply. That means supply is not in good quantity. Supply is not as per the expected quantity, and so there is a short supply situation. So it is very difficult to maintain stocks in that category or in that classification. The next term is show, means fashion show. So fashion show is nothing but a formal display of merchandise with a theme, program, music, commentator, etc. on living and moving models. So display of merchandise through a live and moving models is fashion show. Showing of fashions is the next term. Showing of fashions. Informal display on living and live and moving models. Informal display on live and moving models, and no particular theme, script or commentator or program. No planned continuity. So usually held in showrooms or of manufacturers or in stores of fashion department to show the merchandise in use. So showing of fashions is an informal kind of fashion show where there may not be any theme, there may not be any commentator. So it may be usually held in the showrooms of the manufacturers or maybe in the fashion stores department, just to showcase the merchandise in use. The next term is showrooms. Showrooms are spaces maintained in various cities by vendor manufacturers, importers, wholesalers and distributors. These are the spaces maintained by various vendor manufacturers, wholesalers and distributors, where the merchandise is displayed for store buyers. The merchandise is basically displayed for store buyers and merchandise managers to select styles and place orders. So when you in the industry context, when they say showrooms, basically they are the showrooms meant for the retail buyers and merchandisers, where they can come and see the collections offered for sale by the vendors and manufacturers and wholesalers and place orders as per their wish. So the next term is shrinkage. Shrinkage is the next term. Shrinkage means the difference, especially on the minus side. The difference on the minus side between the merchandise on hand shown by physical inventory that's shown as book value. That means there is a difference, there is a shortage from the book value. The physical value of the stock is less than the book value. That is called shrinkage. Then the next term is signing. What is signing? Signing is writing signs in use at retail point of sale. Manufacturers make character by obliging with factual information and consumer benefit that make signing easy. So it is basically writing signs in use at retail point of sale. The next term is silhouette. Silhouette is the overall outline, contour or shape or form of a fashion. So it is basically the overall contour or outline of a style, shape and form of a style. The next term is soft goods. soft goods. Soft goods, ready to wear for women, children, men, fashion accessories, piece goods and domestics. That means basically soft goods means the ready to wear clothing. So the ready to wear clothing is known as a soft goods. The next term is software. Software. General purpose programs normally furnished by EDP equipment manufacturer for use in extending the capabilities and functions of a basic computer. So basically software enables the functioning of computers. So the program that runs the computers and the packages that enable the certain enterprise management, they are all called softwares. Specialty stores. The next term is specialty stores. What are specialty stores? Stores concentrating on specific classifications of merchandise. Stores concentrating on specific classifications of merchandise. For example, jewelry. There can be a jewelry shop, and furniture. There can be a furniture showroom, bookstore, and men's specialty clothing store, and furnishings. There can be a specialty store for the furnishings, and women's apparel, women's specialty store, accessories, shoes, intimate apparel like lingerie stores, sporting goods, sports specialty stores. So they are all, that means basically a specialty store would be concentrating on a specific classification of merchandise. The next term is staple stock. Staple stock. So what is staple stock? How do we understand this term? There is always the problem of overlap in defining basic stock versus staple stock. So there is always a problem of overlap in basic stock vis-a-vis staple stock. Essentially, the difference between basic and staple is assortments versus single items. Staple stock is made up of items that are practically continuous demand. So staple stocks are made up of the items which are continuously in demand. And basic stock is an assortment of items that are currently in demand. So basic stock means currently in demand. Staple means continuously in demand. The basic stock includes staple stock items also. The next term is stock book. Next term is stock book. So what is a stock book? Stock book is the record of purchases from orders and of sales from stubs of price tickets usually maintained by the buyer. So it is basically maintaining the book stock, book inventory of the stock. The next term is stock control. Stock control. It is a broad term for various systems and methods of control of stock. So stock control is a broad term used on various systems which are used for control of stocks. Keep in line with the customer demand, one step ahead when the demand goes up, slowed up when the demand is faltered. That means you have to control your stock, your inventory in tune with the customer demand. Your stock should peak slightly before the time when customer demand is likely to peak. So you should precede, the stock levels should precede customer demand. The next term is stock keeping unit, SKU. So this is again a very commonly, frequently used term in the merchandising. Stock keeping unit is the term. So item of merchandise which is in stock. So stock keeping is a specific item of merchandise, so which is in the stock. So that is called SKU. The next term is style. Style means a certain characteristics that distinguish a garment from other garments. So it is a key element of fashion design, and it decides the overall the look of the garment. So style is again a very important aspect of an apparel, and it is also a very important part of fashion design. Style piracy is the next term. The next term used is style piracy. So what is style piracy? Style piracy is close copy. Style piracy is close copy and sale at a lower price of a manufacturer's original design by another manufacturer. So a manufacturer has come out with some brilliant style and is selling, but another manufacturer would copy that style closely, may not be exactly the same style, but a close style copying, and sell at a less price. Most probably we may sell at a less price also. So it can be disastrous for a store when competitor offers a copy at a lower price. So it will spell disaster for the store which has invented the original style, and the store which is copying and selling at a lower price may be making money, and the original store may be disastrous for that original designer. Sub-teens, that means girls department. Sub-teens department. What is that? It is separate ready-to-wear and accessories department appealing to girls from approximately 9 to 13 years old. So that means sub-teens, it is below, even less than teenage. So it is a separate category which is selling merchandise appealing to girls in the age group of 19 to 13 years old. The next term is suppliers. The next term is suppliers. Suppliers refers to manufacturers, importers, wholesalers and other resources from whom the stores may buy the merchandise for resale. Suppliers is again a general term. It is applicable to even manufacturers and importers, wholesalers, whoever is supplying merchandise to the buyers. They all can be called suppliers. Switching customers is the next term. The next term is switching the customers. So what is the meaning of switching customers? So when a salesperson cannot close sale, he calls the buyer or the department manager or even another salesperson whom introduces as a department supervisor to take over the sale. More prevalent in men's clothing, furniture and major appliances department. So in departments like men's clothing and furniture and major appliances department, when the salesperson is unable to close the sale deal, so you would call a department manager and another senior salesperson whom you would introduce as a department supervisor. So he would try to convince and close the sale deal. So this is called switching customers. Yeah, the next term is tabloid. So what is a tabloid? Tabloid is nothing but it is a type of newspaper which is about half the size of a standard size newspaper. It is generally half the size of a standard newspaper. So tabloids are many times very popular, and like examples in US context could be New York Daily News and Women's Wear Daily, especially in apparel industry context. The next term is target audience. Target audience. What is the meaning of target audience? Target audience refers to special group within an audience to which advertising is specifically aimed at. So it is basically a special group, so for which the advertising is specially aimed. Example could be an advertisement in a college publication addressed to skiers, those who ski among the student readers. So that advertisement can be, so that means for that advertisement, the people who ski, They are the target audience. The next term is target market. Target market. Target market is defined. It is a defined segment of a whole market to which an advertiser directs merchandising, merchandise promotion, and can be identified by demographics. So target market is especially the market which is targeted for marketing and merchandising activity, and this target market can be identified by demographic parameters. Next term, test promotions. Test promotions is the next term. So test, it is conducted by store for vendor presenting new products, improved products, or selling an idea to ascertain the reactions of the store customers. It means that the test promotions are generally done by the retailers on behalf of the vendors. So whenever vendors want to test their new products or improved products or some selling ideas through retailers, they test them for customer feedback with the retailers. Next topic, 13th month. There is a term called 13th month. So what does it mean? So 13 months means 5 selling days between Christmas and New Year. In a US context, the 5 selling days between Christmas and New Year's is considered as almost like another month. So because of the expected sales and the importance in terms of the shopping and the sales, so the 5-day period between Christmas and New Year is considered as 13th month. The next term is trading area. The next term is trading area. What is trading area? Trading area is surrounding area from which most of the store's trade is drawn. So it is area surrounding the store from where the store's trade is drawn. It varies by individual store location. It can vary from store to store, from store location. Each store or main or branch needs to know to what extent and from what direction it draws its customers. Checking automobile license plates in shopping center parking lots, questioning customers who visit the stores, analyzing charge accounts. All these will help to develop this information. That means to know where the customers are coming to the store. So that would enable the store to identify trading area of the store. The next term. Next term is traffic. So what is the meaning of traffic? Number of persons, both prospective and actual customers, who enter the store or the department. So traffic means here the store traffic. So it means that it is the number of persons, whether actual customers or prospective customers, who are entering the store in a given time or a given day. So that is called traffic or store traffic. Transactions per square feet. Transactions per square feet is the next term. So transactions per square feet means number of transactions per square foot of selling space area obtained by dividing number of gross transactions of sales. Checks of a department by an average number of square feet the department occupies per selling space. So transactions per square feet, actually it basically refers number of transactions per square foot of selling space obtained. How do you get that? It is simply you divide the number of gross transactions of sales check by average number of square feet of the. So what is the number of transactions divided by what is the space in terms of square feet occupied by the department, that would give you transactions per square feet. The next term is transit time. Transit time means it is computed from time merchandise leaves the vendor or the factory or the warehouse until it arrives at the stores receiving docks. So transit time is basically the time taken for the merchandise to arrive at the store from the time it has left the vendor's warehouse or vendor's factory. The next term is trend. The direction in which fashion is moving is called trend. So fashion trend, when you call the trend or fashion trend, it basically means direction in which fashion is moving. So this is very important for particularly in the fashion forecasting context. So if you know the fashion trend, if you know the direction in which the fashions are moving, then it is becomes a bit easier to predict the fashion movement, to forecast the fashions. So that way the trend or fashion direction in which the fashion is moving is always important. The next term is turnover. So turnover, what is the meaning of turnover? Turnover means total number of times within a given period that stock of goods is sold and replaced. So turnover is basically how many times the average stock is turned into sales. So it is called turnover, or it can be called stock turnover. So it basically refers how many times the average stock is turned into sales in a given period of time. You can calculate the turnover for 6 months period, turnover for 1 year period. So you have to calculate what is the average stock amount in that period, and you also see what is the sales. So then you can easily calculate how many times the average stock is converted into sales. The next term is uneven exchange. The next term is uneven exchange. What is uneven exchange? Merchandise returned by customer for exchange for another article at a price different from that of the original purchase. So the customer is coming back to return or basically to exchange the original article that he has purchased for another item, but the prices are different from that of a original purchase. So this exchange can be called uneven exchange. Exchange can be in favor of the customer. She receives a new article plus refund, or of store customer pays additional amount for the new article purchased. So whenever there is a difference in the price, so it may be a situation where store may refund some of the amount because the new article purchased by the customer is less in price than the original article, or the customer may end up paying more additional amount to the store because the new article that he has purchased is costlier than the original article that he is returned. So this kind of a situation is called uneven exchange. Then comes the next term, that is unisex merchandise. So what is unisex merchandise? Unisex merchandise is ready to wear and accessories designed for both men and women, frequently sold in the same merchandise. So it is basically a ready to wear merchandise and also accessories designed for both men and women. They can be worn by the both. So that is unisex merchandise. So the next term is unit billing. So unit billing means customer received single statement, list of articles purchased is posted on the detachable strip, which is the which the store retains for the adjustment purpose. So basically unit billing means, so it is the customer receives a single statement in which the list of articles purchased is posted. The next term is unit control. So what is the meaning of unit control? Unit control is a system of recording vital statistics. System of recording vital statistics of stock on hand. It is a system of recording vital statistics of stock on hand, on order, and sold for a given period. Control is interpretation of statistics as a barometer showing change in the customer buying habits. It works best when barometer readings are taken frequently and seriously. So unit control is basically a system where you have always maintain the vital statistics of what is in stock, how much is in stock, how much is on order, how much is received, how much is sold. So these actual vital statistics are always important to have a better control over the inventory management. Next term is value added tax, VAT. So it is nothing but a pyramiding form of assessment at each level of manufacturing and distribution, from raw material until the finished product is offered to the consumer. A tax on the increased value of the product is added. Instead of keeping tax at every stage, it is only on the value addition. The tax is basically on the what is the value added at that stage. Only on that part the tax is added. So that is called value added tax. The next term is vendor. So vendor refers to, again, generally to a manufacturer. It can refer to a wholesaler. It can refer to a jobber. It can refer to a commission merchant from whom the merchandise is purchased. So vendor is again basically he is vending the merchandise, he is supplying the merchandise. So the buyers generally purchase merchandise from any of these vendors. The next important term is vendor chargeback. Vendor chargebacks. So what is vendor chargebacks? Vendor chargebacks refer to the merchandise where the merchandise is returned to vendor and store submits bill to the vendor. It is frequently accompanied by proof of delivery to vendor. It is frequently accompanied by proof of delivery to the vendor. So vendor chargebacks can be where the vendor is giving back the merchandise, and where then the store also submits a bill to the vendor for payment. Similarly, the vendor chargeback can also be there in a different context where where the merchandise is delayed or merchandise is not in good condition, because of which the buyer is returning the merchandise to the vendor. So there again the vendor will be charged back. So that is called vendor chargeback. The next term, which is again a very important term from retail business perspective, is visual merchandising. So visual merchandising is presentation of merchandise to best selling advantage. Presentation of the merchandise to best selling advantage, and for maximum traffic exposure plus projection of customer ready to buy. Not a display technique but merchandising strategy. Many a times it is more than a display technique. It can be seen as a merchandising strategy. So visual merchandising is very important, particularly in fashion business, so that the merchandise is showcased, merchandise is displayed for better browsing by the customers. The next term is walkouts. So what are walkouts? Walkout: customers who enter the store with acquisitive gleam in eye walk out dull-eyed and empty-handed. For example, absence of merchandise information at point of sale, lack of informative labeling, items out of stock due to non-existing basic plans, etc. So because of any of these reasons or some of these reasons, the customer who enter the store would be ultimately walking out empty-handed without making any purchase. So the customers who are walking out, going out of the store without making any purchase, it is called walkouts. The next term is warranty. The next term is warranty. Warranty is the act or instance of warranting. Assurance, it is basically an assurance and guarantee authorization, an express warranty of quality of goods made by the manufacturer. That means it is a kind of assurance given by the manufacturer for the quality and service and duration of the product. So for a given length of time, he gives assurance for the performance of the product, and also he undertakes to make free of cost repairs, free of cost service during the warranty period. The next term is way bill. Next term is way bill. What is way bill? Shipping form. Way bill is a shipping form similar to the manifest or bill of lading. Stipulate the names of vendor, consignee, shipping instructions, costs, etc. So way bill will have, it is similar to a bill of lading, and it stipulates the names of vendors and name of the consignee, and shipping instructions and costs are included in the way bill. The next term is white goods. What are white goods? White goods refers to the appliances like refrigerators, deep freezers, automatic dryers, washing machines, dishwashers. So they are comparatively big ticket items. White goods are, as the name indicates, they are white goods. That means big ticket items. So they are called white goods. It is typically refrigerators, washing machine, dishwashers, air conditioners, etc. The next term is youth market. The next term is youth market. So what is youth market? Youth market refers to men, women under 25 years of age. So it basically refers people under 25 years of age, including babies, children, sub-teens, teens, young men and women, primarily interested in a new, different and unusual products. So youth market is always dynamic. They want something new, something unusual, something different, and so the youth market is many a times is treated differently by merchandisers as well as the marketeers.